Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Alternative data in U.S. companies and trends have become table stakes for sophisticated investors, but the same information is harder to come by in fragmented Europe. Joining me to discuss is Bill Dague, head of alternative data at Nasdaq, and Hamza, head of European data at Quandl, a Nasdaq platform. It's great to have you both with us. And Bill, let's kick it off with you. It sounds like the data sets on European trends are largely untapped. Where's the opportunity, and are the barriers to entry higher there?
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely there are barriers to entry in Europe. There are some serious challenges. I mean, I think there's a lot of extra regulation you need to be aware of, and I think there's a general perception of how data is used in Europe that's a little bit different from sort of public awareness in the U.S. There's also geographical fragmentation. So, you have different countries, different geographies, that make it hard to sort of get a nice pan-European view. In the U.S., you have sort of it's a monolithic market, and you can understand U.S. consumers, you can understand most U.S. companies that service them. So, I think the opportunity is to really try to bring data sets together and create something that's, an aggregate, and it's greater than the sum of its parts, to create something that's more pan-European and more comprehensive.
Hamza, as the first ever head of European data at Quandl, what's the high-level strategy to unlock the potential in Europe?
Great. Thanks, Jill. Thanks for having me on. I think Europe's seen a lot of growth and innovation in the last decade, especially for fintechs. For a while, it was centered around the UK and Germany, but now we're seeing companies flourishing across the continent, from neobanks in France changing the way we think about savings, or retailers who've been around for 100 years, but they're now embracing online platforms. There's so much amazing activity in Europe. And at Nasdaq, every day we ask ourselves, what can we do to help? Companies at different stages of their growth have different data needs. So are we able to support companies? When they're ready to explore data monetization, data strategies, do they feel comfortable talking to us? I'm really focused in Europe on being connected to companies and the ecosystem so that we can become a trusted partner for data and help them grow and succeed.
And Hamza, I'll ask you the same question. What are some of the challenges and opportunities the European market faces as compared to the US?
Wow, well, that's a great question. And we could talk about endless things. But for data, I think it comes down to two very timely topics. The first being the coronavirus and the second being Brexit. And corona is global, but data will be crucial to seeing the impact of the vaccine in Europe. Will consumers go back to offices or restaurants or traveling? The fact that we're in the second lockdown for much of Europe may affect behavior as well. But having the right data will help companies understand what the recovery looks like, where it's happening, and how to be a part of it. And Brexit is a big issue. It's a second issue. And at its heart, when you really boil it down, Brexit is a regulatory issue. For individuals, people from the UK will still travel to Europe and vice versa. But the rules and regulations will change in the background. And it's the same issue with data. We're very conscious of conforming to regulations, and you have to be aware and informed the developments with the EU GDPR and the UK GDPR. But clarity makes it easier for companies to share data. Regulations telling us what we can't do also tell us what we can do, and that creates a lot of opportunities in Europe in 2021 and beyond.
And Bill, as we close the chapter on 2020, what's your outlook for alternative data in 2021? Any pockets of innovative solutions you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think the outlook is quite good, actually. 2020 really highlighted the value of alternative data to offer perspective when, the landscape is shifting really rapidly. Navigating uncertainty is sort of a really valuable thing. So it's something that, we've seen a lot of enthusiasm for our products and for data in general. And so we're excited to see that sort of continue into 2021. We're particularly excited about new partnerships in consumer spending, and just understanding, as Hamza said, how does the world change post COVID? How do consumers do they go back to the old spending habits? What shifts should we be looking out for? And then also taking the more macro view, which regions or countries are seeing the fastest recoveries. And how should investors position themselves? So that's one I think we've seen a lot of interest in. The other is B2B. I mean, for a lot of the same reasons, but understanding B2B transactions and what's happening there is just another way to look at the same kind of thing. So that's where we're focused for 2021.
And Hamza, let's close with your thoughts on how alternative data will continue its evolution through the new year.
Cool, great. Well, I think in the past, alternative data has all been about growth. But I hope that 2021 will be the year of diversity in data. We think that means data from more sources, from more places, being used by more people. Because throughout the history of mankind, the more data that's out there, the more data that's being used, the greater the progress.
That's an excellent point. Hamza, Bill, thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.